Welcome to Talking It Up. Today we have with us Professor Anindita Bhadra. She is an Associate Professor and Associate Dean of International Relations and Outreach at 𝐼𝐠𝐴 Kolkata. Her profile is quite interesting. She has been a behavioral biologist working with free-ranging or what we colloquially call stray dogs for over 11 years. She was the founding chairman of Indian National Young Academy of Science and is a member of the executive committee of Global Young Academy. So she interacts with the youth quite a lot. We have her here to help us with a few queries on stray dogs. Also joining us is Angshuman Hajra. He is no one new to us, so I'll skip the introductions. We already have had a few episodes with him. So I would request both of them to help us with a query which has come and which is quite interesting. So I'll just read it out. It's a gentleman who has written to us, and he is also very hesitant to disclose his name because of people basically getting against him in his own group. So he writes here, I love dogs. So do many in my locality. So his locality has a lot of dog lovers, but a few of them want them away as well. So that's quite natural. Not everybody would be a dog lover. I have been trying to generate awareness, but it is a slow process. And we all know that. I think, Angshuman, you have been trying to generate awareness for a few years now, and so has Professor Bhadra. My fellow animal lovers always get into arguments and insulting those who do not love dogs. And they in turn take it personally and get into a fight. As a consequence, they don't listen to me anymore. What should I do? It seems to have got into a loop that he goes and generates awareness, then there is an ego fight happening. So the people who are against strays go back to their position and gets into an ego fight. So this is quite interesting. I just wanted, since both of you work with strays a lot, wanted to have your views.
I'd like to mention here that I often get phone calls and emails from different campuses across the country. And we also have the same problem on my own campus at 𝐼𝐠𝐴 Kolkata, where you have a set of people who are dog lovers, a set of people who are dog haters, and they are always fighting with each other. And the constant problem is that, how do we maintain harmony and what is best for the dogs? See, personally, I work on dogs because I like dogs. But then being someone who has to observe and then take hard data, I try to maintain a neutral, non-emotional perspective. So actually, sometimes it's very difficult because, I often say that the hardest part for us to work is to maintain this neutrality because people who come to work with me are all dog lovers. So then if you have, a neutral perspective, what I see is people often don't understand that while trying to be dog friendly, they end up sometimes disrupting the actual biology of the dogs. For example, when you go and feed dogs in a neighborhood, there it becomes a resource-rich area, which might attract migrations. Dogs are territorial, but they do migrate in and out of territories, and often migrations are motivated by availability of resources. So, if you are creating a rich territory, that territory would be attracting more dogs, yes. And the dogs in the territory would try to defend the territory against the intruders. Exactly. And this will create more disruption because there will be more territorial fights, more barking at night, and this will trigger off a lot of problems with the dog haters. So, in trying to be nice to dogs, are we actually creating more trouble for them is something that we need to introspect and ask. Another problem which I often talk about is that, the people who are the dog activists or dog lovers who really care for dogs often come with this notion that, oh, the poor street dogs, they have to live on the streets. Please understand, dogs have existed on streets in human habitations for centuries. I love giving this example when I go abroad, that the earliest written mention of a stray probably comes from the Mahabharata. They will follow humans, they will often follow you and go out of their territories, and then when you board a bus and go off, then this poor dog is going to be in trouble because you are the dog lover who's been feeding this dog and the dog wants to follow you, right? So there is this constant interaction between dogs and humans, and we are party to it. We have to also think, are we actually creating a disruption in their lives? So we never feed dogs from the dog lab, but my students often do. And I always tell them, don't make it a habit. Don't give them food, at a particular time in a particular place, but it's always better to dump food somewhere where dogs can come and take it instead of patronizing individuals. Because then these particular individuals are the ones who will also get the flack from the dog haters. So while we need to, reason with the people who are dog haters, which again come from this notion that I have had people telling me India will become a developed country like America only if we didn't have dogs on streets, which is ridiculous. Like, India has had dogs on streets for centuries and we have survived. Now people in the West are realizing that free ranging or stray dogs are the real system. That is how dogs have always existed. We are the ones who have taken them off the streets, and please understand, the pets, the breeds that we have are all unnatural animals. We have created them by a process of hybridization, selection, genetic selection, which is called artificial selection. They are not capable of surviving. Can you imagine a chihuahua surviving on the street? It can't. But that doesn't mean that that is the norm and that is what a dog is. That's not what a dog is. A dog is what is out there on the street, and it's very interesting. People have actually seen this. If you have a pet which has been let out on the street, doesn't matter what breed it is. It goes and crossbreeds with dogs on streets. It takes a couple of generations for their puppies to become like our pariah dogs, which is because that is the dominant genetic trait, and they are good at survival. They have survived, they survive, and it's not just India. The entire global south has dogs.
Yeah, quite a few interesting points there. And one other aspect that this guy has brought up, that when he is trying to generate awareness to the people who do not love dogs, and they have full right to do so, not everybody has to love everything around them, but they are coexisting. So when he is trying to generate awareness, there is a group of animal radical lovers, I would say, who are getting into a conflict. So whatever good that he is doing in generating awareness is getting into an ego fight where the other side is getting even more offensive. So this poor guy tends to be going round in circles without getting the benefit of towards the dogs. So what would you say about that?
Yeah, this is where actually what she was saying a while ago, that there are 10% people who hate dogs, 10% who are activists of either, but it is the rest 80% who have to...
Yeah, I don't know the 10% part, it would be a variation, but yeah, that's kind of the distribution, a set of people who are dog activists almost, a set of people who really hate dogs, but the majority of the population are neutral. Actually, this is true, if somebody is showing off a lot of love to dogs and then these dogs are barking and fighting, even a neutral person might get upset with it sometime later, like, why should I put up with this? Because you love dogs. If you love them so much, take them home. That is the standard fight that we have. And at the cost of suggesting very anti-dog to some people, I would actually say, I also say this all the time, that, don't do this. They are capable of surviving. Let them survive on their own. And Another problem that people don't understand, when you are too protective, you are feeding them, there's a lot of food, all the pups born in a season survive. The natural mortality doesn't take over, and you have an overpopulation of dogs which we don't want. So sterilization is, people will say sterilize, and the other people will say whichever pups are born we will protect them. Don't. They have a very high natural mortality, right? Just let that be, and the population will be stabilized.
So to summarize what you just suggested for this situation, so if you do not feed, do not start feeding before assessing the situation. If you are feeding, then you have to manage the situation by understanding there are people who do not love dogs, and they also have a right to this society, and that's what our law also says, that there will be both kinds of people, they have to work
Coexist
together, and this AWBI circular also asks people to work like that also.
Yes.
And thirdly, even in spite of that, if there is a conflict, you should take help of the law and your administration instead of using your verbal capability to upset them, which actually gets it out on the dogs.
Yes. Finally, at the end of the day, I think whether you are trying to protect them or not, they are the ones who get the flack of the whole thing.
Some great insights on how we should deal with stray dogs. Not deal, but coexist, I guess. Let them be. They know how to fend for themselves. And let us not try to dictate their lives.
Yes.
Be it from the positive side, showing love, or be it not loving them and getting anti-dogs. None of them help. It's the same world for all of us. They have a right to exist as much as we do. We should not interfere in their life to the maximum possible. So thanks for being with us, Professor Bhadra. And Angshuman has been a very good friend, helping us create this awareness. We would want you back. So till next time, we would like to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching us at Talking It Up. Hope a lot of queries that you have in your mind as an animal lover or otherwise are getting resolved through these episodes. Keep watching. You do not have to agree to all our views. So if you don't, let us know what yours are, or if any query that you have, we will again join with experts like Professor Bhadra and try to resolve them. Thank you.